Everybody, welcome to Men on Purpose interview series. We've got Tony Piazza. Thanks for jumping on.
Thanks for having me, brother.
This is an absolute treat. For those who don't know Tony, he's a soul brother, he's a friend, he's a business partner. We've known each other through the Healy community. We're going to talk about the Healy portable frequency machine shortly as well. And what I love about Tony is his heart, his passion, his desire and vision to help people. He literally runs retreats, helping people with depression, anxiety, PTSD. He's a disabled war veteran, and he uses frequency therapy and plant medicine to help people heal at home and globally around the world. So, this is such an amazing experience being able to work with Healy and to be able to meet you. And I can't wait when I come over to the US to actually finally catch up and do some of these amazing ceremonies that I keep getting these amazing messages from you about, like, bro, you got to do this, check this out. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Everyone's going to get a lot of value from today, whether you're learning about your own mindset, whether you're on your own spiritual path, to that you're wanting to release trauma, or you're wanting to reconnect with parts of yourself that you haven't for a long period of time. We're going to dive into that today and give you some amazing insights into healing and all things healing. Let's start with that. But where did your healing journey start, bro? Like, where did that start? I know you've had a crazy journey. Love to dive into your story and flow from there.
Uh, Basically, I had my awakening about 5 years ago after a suicide attempt. I'm a disabled veteran. I had broken my back, blown out my shoulders, compressed discs in my neck, nerve damage. I was in immense amounts of pain. I was also in legal trouble and didn't see a way out. And I attempted and almost died in my sleep, and then turned myself in the VA hospital, where they kept me for 4 days in the psych ward and convinced me to claim the disability that I didn't think I deserved from the military. And then the 3 following days after me being released is when the activations happened. So I had vivid dreams and events that I could not explain away. And I was actually pulled out of my physical body completely sober and put on this path where I was getting mass amounts of downloads on frequency and vibration and the more spiritual side of things. And I was actually humbled so deeply. I woke up at 3 in the morning after a dream about the Holy Trinity and man and woman combining into light, frequency and vibration. And I woke up to 3 loud knocks on my door. It was like boom, 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 dogs barking. I get up and no one's there. And then that's when I started researching all the things that popped up in my dreams. And it was like the Holy Trinity. And then it went to Bach, the composer, and his composition on the Trinity. And I pasted everything in my notes. And the only one highlighted in blue was Saint Michael, who I'm named after Archangel Michael, my middle name. I was like, that's weird. Pulled that up on YouTube and I played that music. And my whole body was flooded with this electric charge and energy and this overwhelming sense of love and peace that I'd never felt before in my life. And I collapsed on my knees and I was bawling. And then next thing you know, I'm out of my body looking at myself. And I said, I'm so sorry for how I've been living. Please just give me guidance and use me as a conduit. And so for 3 nights, I had very vivid dreams that I remember to this day. And then just events that were so profound that I could not explain it away. And it woke me up to this path where I've been mentored by and working with healers and shamans and holistic doctors and psychics and channelers around the world. But the main thing that I was guided to in the beginning was frequency medicine. So I worked with a healer who did muscle testing, and we were working healing homeless people. We'd have them come in the house and set them on the Rife machine and start. I saw how that was helping these people heal, and we were also charging their water with frequencies and going around to all the parks where they were and offering them prayer and water and stuff. And that was very intense for me at the time because I'd been so opened up that I could feel their pain. So I was always exhausted by the end of the day. And then the healer was working on me one time, and I was laying on his table, and he had um, these CDs that were programmed with over 8,000 frequencies. And so you'd lay on this bed, and these frequencies are supposed to absorb into your body if you need them, right? So I'm laying on the table, and he's working on me, and my energies are flowing. And then he kept leaving the room, and he came back in, and he's like, he's crying, and he's like, I can't believe this. I've never met anyone like me. Did you know you can heal with your hands? And I was like, no. So then he's like, I got to teach you how to do all of this. And then he was taking me around to hospitals where I'd place my hands on people and things would happen. And it was a big thing with me having to accept this new ability and gift. Um, but it kept progressing. I went to school for massage therapy and energy work, and it would keep happening when I'd place my hands on people. But essentially, I was on that path, but I was also deep in frequencies. So I've worked with Rife machines, orgone generators, radionics, bioresonance, and all of this. And then we met when I was in Costa Rica. I was actually guided out of the country um, right before COVID. And this was after I'd sat in ayahuasca and I was showing my life path working with plant medicines and this and that. And I tried to actually run from it. Um, I tried to go move to Bali on my own. I bought a one-way ticket, and they said I was 10 minutes late to check my bags. So I went back to my Airbnb and drank. And I woke up at like 10 a.m. the next day, and I had a voicemail from the VA hospital saying I had to be back in Wyoming um, to get reevaluated to increase my disability benefits. And at that point, I was redirected to sit in ceremony again, where I was told I'd be going to Peru and I was going to go absorb all of this information. And I was like, I don't have money for this. And they're like, don't worry about the money. You're going. And I was like, okay. Then I got my disability increased. I'm kind of summing it up, but um, I ended up in the jungle for uh, almost a month doing plant medicines, plant dietas, where you diet specific plants for different healing and spiritual gifts. And I was able to function in these ceremonies more than the normal person, and I was able to help people. And then I was invited to live with Clay Villanueva, who is a soul brother who's recently passed about a year ago. But I lived with him and his wife serving ayahuasca. And that's where spirit was kind of guiding me and teaching me how to work within this realm. And anyway, so I end up in Costa Rica. We meet, and I'd been working with a lot of frequency devices at that time, but the person that introduced us, she didn't know much about the frequencies, so I didn't really take her serious. But I booked a session with you, and it picked up on like childhood trauma. I grew up in a very abusive home, and so it picked up on all that stuff, even though I'd done a lot of healing work. So I knew it was still in my field, right? And then it also picked up on all my injuries, my back and nerve damage and all of that. And then you sent frequencies, and it felt amazing. And so I knew it worked. I was turned off at first by the fact that it was network marketing. And I remember telling you that. And then I hit up a friend in Austria, and he had a $40,000 radionics device. And this thing can scan similar to Healy, but you can ask questions. And then based on a percentage level, it tells you how beneficial it is, right? And so anything over 80 is really good. And I asked about the Healy, and it came back at 100%, which like you never see. So I was like, that's interesting. I was like, okay, am I supposed to be using this for myself or helping others in the business side? And it was 46% for me, 96% for helping others in the business side. So then you helped me, and I jumped full in, both feet, and I shared it with a lot of my healer friends and holistic doctors, and they all fell in love with it. And I ended up selling like 15 in the first 2 weeks, earning a free Healy, gifting that to my mom, and I made I think 6 grand or something. But that started my journey with Healy. That was what, 3 years ago now, and I've helped hundreds around the world. I actually offer free 2-hour sessions where we do the aura, which picks up on trauma and blockages that you picked up throughout your life, even things that are passed down generationally. It's got the coaching programs, which picks up on like subconscious blockages, limiting beliefs and behaviors, and rewires those, and then any imbalances within the body and mind. So um, I don't know if you want to ask questions. I'm kind of just talking, but
Great. The flow's awesome, man. Your story is intense. It's insane. And being in the jungle for a month, right, with your different mentors, from, you wanting to end it and not wake up the next day to now where you are today. And, for anyone out there wanting to connect with Tony, yeah, he does sessions with the Healy. So reach out to him, Tony Piazza. I guess what's the best way for people to find you? Got a few
frequency
accounts.
revolution, frequency revolution 22 on Instagram. I have 3 Instagram pages because I spoke out so much against all the corruption and uh, Western medicine. So I have 3 accounts, but that's one that's the easiest. It's Frequency Revolution 22 and then Frequency Revolution 2233. I post a lot of similar stuff on all the pages because I've been shadow banned, but I have a link tree and you can go watch other podcasts I've done with you and other people, um, and different videos. And then you can book a free session with me. And it's about 2 hours typically. And we go through in depth all of your scans, and then we deliver frequencies. And a lot of people have benefits just off the long distance. So it's pretty incredible. But this little device is a portable wearable, and it comes with like 3 types of frequency. So you got the quantum field, which is what we do long distance. I can scan anyone in the world from the comfort of my own home and deliver frequencies. When you do have it on you, there's this Healy coil that's plugged into mine right now, and that creates a 3-foot field of pulsed electromagnetic waves. So it's a 3-foot field of magnetic frequency waves of whatever program you're running. So I'll keep that in my pocket while I'm running around. And then it also has the microcurrent where the wires plug in, and that microcurrent boosts your ATP by 500%, your protein synthesis by 70, and your amino acid transport by 40. So essentially supercharging your cells and helping you heal and regenerate very quickly. And then based on the program you're running, it's getting that system back into health and harmony. So
That's it. That's it. I've got my Rife programs on right now, the Zappa protocol, and I've also got the Mag Healy here as well. So this is running I think this is even a greater field around me and tapping into more of a coherence program for our conversation today. So that's more of a portable, amazing for pain. You can put it directly on that area, activating water as well. Do you want to explain the Mag Healy? How do you describe this to people?
so that one's I think it creates a 30-foot radius, so it can fill the atmosphere of your home with different frequency programs. You can place it on water, and I have 2 garden towers, so I was charging the water for plants and different things like nutrient absorption. And I place it on my smoothies and try to charge it with different frequencies. And then you can also place it on your body for different things. So it's got, I don't know how many programs. I think it's 24 or 48. I think it's close to 100 programs in there. I'm not sure. It's very powerful. I have mine running in my room 24/7 with different programs. Um, and then if I go anywhere out, I run it in my car and different things. Um, but essentially, that's like second place. This is first because this gives you the ability to scan and treat yourself. So a lot of people in Western medicine, they treat the symptom and they give you medications that numb those symptoms, and they're not truly healing you from the root cause of the imbalances. So Healy is really good at pinpointing where these imbalances are stemming from and then getting those systems back into health and harmony. And I've helped people get off all their medications and truly heal, which is big for me because I also do work with plant medicines where you cannot be on any SSRIs like antidepressant, anxiety, mood stabilizers. And that was something I suffered with, right? So I suffered from a lot of pain, um, and then energy and mental emotional things. And the Healy is so good at helping to elevate you on all different levels of your being. So like if I have pain come up, I can run a 20-minute pain program and my pain is reduced by like 80%, if not gone. If I'm waking up in a funk, then I can run some frequencies and it elevates my mood and my energy. I use it for fitness. Uh, I was skinny fat because I hadn't worked out in a long time because of all my injuries, right? So if I went to the gym, I'd be burnt out in like 20, 30 minutes. I started using Healy, and I run circulation before I go to the gym to get the blood flow. And then I run performance, which boosts your chi energy. And then I run strength while I'm in there, and it actually boosts my strength pretty significantly. And I found that out one day because I was doing the curls with the bicep curls um, on the pulley press, and normally I do the whole stack and I'm good, right? So this day, I guess my Healy wasn't on because I was struggling. I'm like, am I not resting enough? So I sit down and I look. I'm like, oh, my Healy's not on. So I turn it on strength, put it on 100%, went and grabbed that same bar, and about knocked my teeth out because I lifted it so fast. And then I just started laughing. I'm like, holy cow. Um, so it helps you to feel more grounded and stabilized so you can actually lift more weight. And then afterwards, I run the microcurrent with the electrodes on the back of my neck, and I run muscle and regeneration. So I'm only sore for a day versus 3 or 4. And then I was able to put on like 14 pounds of muscle in 3 weeks doing that. Um, there's just endless benefits to this device. So it's really exciting.
It's so exciting. It's so exciting for those people, for anyone out there who's new to frequency therapy. This has been around for quite some time. Think of it as the battery charger, right? I've got the Healy here. I've got the cords plugged in at the bottom, and I've got the wrist straps left and right, focusing on a specific program. That's, as Tony said, sending the energy into the cells, literally microcurrent, very, very subtle electricity to boost the output of ATP, which regenerates the body. So quicker skin repair, brain repair, organ repair, flow of energy. And when the body has got more energy, it can function more effectively. And most people are walking around with depleted organs from toxins or stress or trauma. And this is a device to help pinpoint that area that's out of balance right now, and then figure out the best way to let that go through whether it's the vibration, the quantum technology at a distance, or the microcurrent, or the coil, or the mag Healy. It's allowing people to, instead of falling into the gutter of life and zigging and zagging all the time, it helps us stay consistently on path. So I swear by it. Let's dive into a couple of topics here. You spoke, you have such an amazing awareness around healing, plant medicine, taking people through these ceremonies. The buzz term of trauma, or, how do you describe that? What is that? And what is the best way to release that out of the body and to find, I guess, op optimal wellness and optimal function of from any past traumas and stresses to now being in the present, achieving our goals and dreams and stuff like that.
Well, I think that like trauma, a lot of people perceive that as like having to be something significant, and it doesn't. Like I've worked with people that they've stored trauma from their childhood or even the womb, right? And it impacts on how you perceive the world. And it takes you out of that balance and the harmony where you're truly your true self and at peace, and you're able to respond to life instead of react and things like that. So trauma can be anything from when you were a little kid. Um, my girlfriend had this come up, and she had like abandonment come up, and she didn't understand because she had a good life with her family for the most part, right? And then she was shown that it was one time when her parents had hired a babysitter for them to go out and have date night. And for whatever, how she perceived it as a kid is she did something wrong and wasn't worthy, or, didn't deserve that love. And essentially, like, all of us have so much inner child healing. And I call children like karma creators, because how we perceive the world during those times um, impacts us on a deep subconscious level, and it creates programs that are running that are limiting you from truly expressing your highest self and living from a heart-centered place of love and compassion, and that comes from doing a lot of practices with self-love and these medicines. So let's just call them distortions in your field. So you can develop this from it can be a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual trauma, and they're stored in your body in subconscious programs that are limiting you in some form or fashion. Frequency can help to pull your system out of those old tracks and create new neural pathways, right? kind of like shaking the snow globe, right? And it's all fresh powder instead of all these old roots, or like, you know what I'm saying? All these old pathways that have been carved in. And it allows you to kind of elevate your mental and emotional and physical well-being. The plant medicine ceremonies that I've worked with, I've done hundreds of hours out of my body in the spirit realm, and it really helps you to face maybe things that you didn't want to face within yourself and you didn't even know it. It shows you your blind spots and different things that are going on, and it helps you. It blankets you in this unconditional love of God, where there's no judgment, and it allows you to kind of get a third person bird's eye view of what happened and to forgive yourself and others. And like, even with some of my plant medicines, that showed me all the trauma that these people endured that made them who they were and made them do those things to me, because I was physically abused, right? And then it showed me all the abuse and trauma that they endured, which then gets passed down until it's faced and healed. Um, and I've helped special forces veterans, Hell's Angels, people from pretty extreme um, lives to truly heal and step back into their divinity and forgiveness and love themselves on a deep level. Um, I don't know how to zero in on all of this, but it's like very, it's something that, so with the plant medicines, what you're going to do is you're going to go, you set intentions, and it's very important to have good intentions set, whether it's like, if you want to find out why you're here, what's your purpose, what are the gifts, what are the lessons that you came here to learn, get more clarity, guidance, direction. And you go into that with like a lot of heart-centered um, intentions to become a better person, to show up in the world in a better way, to help others and serve. And when you go into those spaces, spirit comes through and shows you all the places that maybe you're blocked. Maybe you get activations and you get shown like what your spiritual path is and your gifts, and you get a deeper understanding for reality. You lose your fear of death, because over there it's like amazing unconditional love. I don't know if you've ever watched like near death experiences and stuff where people don't want to come back to their body, but essentially our soul is seated in thousands of lifetimes, and we came here with a specific purpose to learn lessons. And um, we learn the most through our suffering. So my suffering has become my greatest gift, because I can reach people from all walks of life, and I can really meet them where they're at, and I can jump into the dumpster with them and hold space for them to heal and climb out. Um, but you really get to see the magic behind and the divinity and everything, and how everything is divinely orchestrated, whether it's um, and that's hard for people to grasp, especially if they went through some severe trauma. But it's way more expansive, and it helps you to get like a bird's eye view of what is really going on, why your soul is here, and to truly release and heal on a deep level, so that you can maintain more inner peace and balance. And like I said, respond to life and have that love and compassion, and see the magic and the mundane, and navigate life that way. So I don't know if that answered the question. I was kind of all over the place, but
Absolutely. No, that's fascinating. No, I love that because there's just a boat flying past. Oh, look at this. Can you hear me okay?
Mhm.
It's this amazing
Yeah,
AI that like reduces all the background noise. Incredible. Um so the team's up here in the office, laughing, and I'll show you this. Brandon's in an ice bath. I don't know, it's so blurry. But Brandon's in an ice bath. Deb and Jess just got here. We do daily check-ins. Such a great
nice.
team culture and team vibe. And what you mentioned is kind of like the saying, no matter how thin you slice an experience or slice something, there's always two sides. And I think in our human experience, being kind of trapped in these senses, these five or six senses, depending on how you look at it, it gives it, when we experience an experience, we only see it from a certain point of view. So what you're saying is, by doing these medicines or different therapies, it's allowing you to see it from a different side and the other side of the coin. per se.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're able to see the balance, the duality. And when that's what I've learned from the work that I've done, is that unconditional love isn't all the positives. It's seeing the positives and all of the, say, negative perceptions or drawbacks or advantages in one experience, and then loving it unconditionally, seeing both sides, the dark and the light, or the positive and the negative, and the up and the down, the duality. And so that's what
Yeah.
it looks like. These is correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like these are modalities to help us come to an unconditional state of love. And in doing that, the tension or the stress or the frequency in our cells changes form, and we can let go of those, say, disturbances, as you said, or kind of set points or pathways of certain thought patterns of trauma or anxiety or depression or PTSD, which our brain is going this way, but now you're able to create a new pathway and go this way or wherever they want to go in order to, I guess, come to an equilibrium of the experience, where it's not just anger and hatred and pain, but it's also calm and I guess appreciation and gratitude and gosh, love at the end of the day. So is that really what it's all about?
Yeah, and the spiritual path isn't all light, love, and unicorn farts. It's a facing a lot of the darkness, and then having that gratitude for all of that experience, because where we come from is a place of unconditional love and peace that you have not felt here. It's incredible. I never want to come back, but I have a purpose, I guess. So but when you're coming from that place, that's where your soul is, right? Your soul is already ascended in these realms of unconditional love and wisdom and power. And then what I've been shown in ceremonies is we come here to experience the polarities and to learn our lessons and expand our soul through these experiences. And all of it is reminding us who we are in love and unconditioned. Everything is connected. And so the more work you do on yourself to rewire your subconscious mind out of victimhood, which is one of the big things that happened when I went through my awakening, is I would wake up at 4 a.m. and plug into I am affirmations, Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, to really change your perception of the world around you so that you can have a deep gratitude even for little things in your life. And once you can start embodying like that active gratitude in daily life and asking like, what is this teaching me right now? Like this experience, like, what is this showing up for me? What within me is attracting this situation? And then learn how to navigate it from that. Because when you can do that, you shift the energy behind everything immediately. And so you don't feel like you're being attacked and this and that. And then you get defensive and your walls will go up and you're storing more trauma in your nervous system. And a lot of us are stuck in that fight or flight. I certainly was, and I'm still processing a lot because of all the physical and verbal abuse that I endured as a kid. And that comes up, and I've been doing this for 5 years. Like I said, hundreds of hours. And there's still deeper layers of healing for your inner child and allowing yourself to feel safe. You also have other lifetimes of trauma that may be replaying in this life for you to heal and overcome.
What's going on, you purpose-driven human you? Thank you so much for checking out this interview. Zach Deane here. If you had any aha moments or questions, please put it into the comments. And while I have you here, I'd love to ask you a quick but powerful question. Do you ever dream about turning your passions and purpose into a business that helps people and makes a profit, but you don't have the energy or skill set or community or training to do so? Then listen up. I've actually created this. This has taken me 10 years of working with over 1,000 people in the health and wellness industry. I've created what's called the 28A Club. These are 28 actions of specific biohacks that give you the optimal energy, focus, and results in all areas based on quantum science and quantum biology. As you know, the frequencies in nature, when we align to them, allow us to become our fullest version. They allow us to become a high performer. When we disconnect from nature, we become a low performer and it doesn't help to activate our purpose in life. And so if you'd like to download this is a free copy. Go to www.28a.club/join and you can download it, join the club of us high performers, and I look forward to seeing you in there.
I was shown all of that. I did Ibogaine, which is 24 hours of visions as clear as you and I are seeing right now. And I had my whole life review. And then I went through my mom's, my dad's, my brother's, saw the trauma that they endured that shaped who they were. I was in the Akashic records of my soul. And I was shown, I asked, I'm like, how many times have I incarnated? And it felt like the beginning of time. It was beyond my mind. And I was like, what the heck? And then I was like, how many times on earth? And it was 1,423. And I was in shock. And then it would put me in that living movie of these lifetimes. And one of them was actually, the first one was a lady planting a garden, and the seed grew into a sunflower. And I was a sunflower waving at myself, and I was just laughing hysterically. And then I was like, okay, as a human. And then it showed a lot of these warrior lives where I was killed, um, and then I was burned alive as a witch during the Salem witch trials, and I was there. It was this clear. Um, and and then it showed me like I was a shaman or healer in Mongolia and all these things. So it showed me all these lifetimes, and I think a lot of it was for me to process the trauma from that life. It was somehow impacting me in this life. From I've been killed for working in the light and doing this work in many lifetimes. And so there was a subconscious blockage, which I'm still working through, of truly stepping up and shining in my light and embodying that. So it goes deep, man. It's layers and layers, and it's never ending. Like, people don't get caught up in destination. Like, this is a journey and it's a path, and you're always going to be unwinding and healing and expanding your consciousness so that you can start to attract more wealth and abundance and more your soul family who truly love and appreciate you and support you in your path. Opportunities, instead of how we've been indoctrinated to grind, 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 and then die, right? Now you're more in alignment with the universe, and you can attract the things that you want in your life because you're matching that vibration. And that's where these frequency devices are amazing, is because it's clearing those distortions and then putting that frequency in your field more consistently so that you start attracting those things in your life.
Well, you've had 1,400 and was it 32? Is that right?
23.
23. Welcome back. I'm curious to know how many I've had. And that's fascinating. And yeah, anyone out there looking or curious, please check in with Tony, because it's such a probably a massive discussion. You know, probably there's a time and place, and mentorship in that field of plant medicine is definitely going to be important, I'm sure. You spoke a little bit about purpose. When you were doing the plant medicine, you were shown your purpose and why you're here, and you know, you're talking about your kind of challenges in this lifetime, stepping up and stuff like that. So and you're speaking about how these challenging or these traumatic or these painful experiences actually are the pathway to enlightenment, so to speak, and to see and to find unconditional love is by leaning into these challenges, not by pushing them away or suppressing them with whatever distractions we do today. So this is an interview series, Men on Purpose. And the reason you know what I mean? And what I'm getting at right here is that I watched the documentary, What is a Woman by Matt Walsh, and he interviews people like Jordan Peterson and different transgender doctors and therapists and surgeons. And these are people that are affirming and supporting kids changing genders, you know, from boys to girls or girls to boys. And this sparked the discussion that, and I got to see firsthand, it's like, I'm an example to the next generation. You are an example. Everyone is an example to the next generation. And we have influence as how we show up. And so I wanted to create an interview series where it was, we choose to be a man on purpose and not get a sex change, and why. And then also being a man with a purpose. And so maybe just talk about that for a minute. Is like, how have you found your, I guess, masculine essence you know, whether, you know, as a kid, whatever you went through, or being in the army, I'm sure there was a perception or a societal expectation for us. And then, you know, secondly, how do we, and this is for everyone, this is just a discussion, is like, how do we find our purpose? How do we walk our purpose? You know, these are, I think my belief is that when we find our purpose, why are we here on this earth, why we're not dead yet, so to speak, when we find that, you know, there is an alignment that happens, and there's an energy and a frequency that when we get in alignment with that, things get challenging. Don't get me wrong, it challenges the matrix, so to speak, but that's the path that's most worthwhile, and it's who we become in that process. It's so amazing. So yeah, what's your thoughts on all that?
So this is something that I know a lot about. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of the book Life Between Lives. This doctor
No.
did thousands and thousands of hypnotherapy sessions, and he walks people into their most recent past life and then goes into the space between lives where you're actually picking your avatar, what lessons you're here to learn, and all of these things, right? So you chose this. You chose your avatar, you chose the family you're coming into, you got a brief synopsis of what you'd be facing, and then you're embodied in the third density, which is not an easy place to be in, and a lot of, and our memories wiped, and because that makes the game more exciting, I guess, for our soul. And then um so with that, it's like people who are denying that, I don't agree with, because say you've been a mask, like a man in many lifetimes, and then your soul wanted to see what it was like to be a female, but it's hard for them to integrate that because they've been a man in so many lifetimes. But like, people are separating themselves and so stuck in the 3D and trying to change their physical body and denying who they truly are as a soul. And that's where all the confusion and chaos is coming from, because they don't truly know themselves. They don't like themselves. uh, they don't love themselves on a deep level, and they're looking for outs in the external world and creating this drama that it just shows you how disconnected from spirit people are. When you truly start connecting to your soul, and you start diving into your other lifetimes and different things, like, you start to realize um, the purpose for your life, right? And so through your traumas and your trials, it's all coming back to self love, and you're loving yourself as a soul and having compassion for yourself and allowing yourself to go through these experiences because you know it's, you're learning and you're expanding through them. um, and I think a lot of, like, your greatest gifts come from your suffering, because when you can heal yourself and work through those problems, then you can reach back and help others. Like, that's one of my biggest things is I've gone through being beaten, abused, military. I was a drug dealer. I was almost homeless. I was living, like, going to those places where you get a box of dry beans and rice. And because my body had broken down, I couldn't take care of myself. Um, so I think it's all a blessing, and it's a blessing in disguise, and God can come speak to you through anybody, whether it's a homeless person. It's like, that's God in drag. Like, be aware and take in the experience and take what you can from it. Um, but I think you find your purpose through truly healing and connecting to your higher self. Um, and when you start getting into alignment with that, you're passionate about it, right? So that energy is put out there. You start attracting more synchronicities on that path, that you get re what is it, affirmations, reaffirmed that you're on the right path, because then things start just playing out. And a lot of people are so stuck in the 3D world, going to the job that they hate, not feeling truly deeply fulfilled in life, and then they're numbing themselves with drugs and alcohol and sex and different experiences. And I've gone through all of that, so I know it's a numbing thing, and you're not truly in alignment. And so the work is tapping into that and really having the personal awareness and why you're doing things, and why you have these situations showing up in your life consistently, and making the adjustments and reprogramming your mind and looking at everything like you're in school. These are all lessons. Some of them are hard, some are easy and fun. But the more you get in alignment, the easier life gets, because you're not having to go butt your head against the wall like me, who was hard headed and didn't want to listen. And so the universe took my body and everything from me until I finally gave in and surrendered. And I said, show me. Right. So, yeah, I feel like you get aligned with your purpose, your soul family, which Healy has connected me with like all of my soul family. And I work with people who do QHHT, which is where they do the past life regressions, and channelers that are world renowned. I've got psychic healer friends that are like helping people cure illness and disease and doing removals and all sorts of stuff. So I've like, if I can't help you, I have friends that can, and they're highly gifted, and I'm very fortunate to have them on my side. But it's all come from me truly doing the work and looking at myself and holding myself accountable, and showing up for myself in those ways. And it's not like you're always going to be on this high trajectory. You go through ebbs and flows, but the more work you do, the less of a change you're going to go through, right? So um, you can stay more consistent, especially with these devices, the frequency and the things like that, because it's going to pick up on those distortions and traumas that are blocking you, and then reprogram them way more efficiently. It's like having a personal healer and a life coach in your pocket. It's like having cheat codes to the universe. You can put your own affirmations in there. You can store frequencies of specific items, or maybe you're in meditation in that state of gratitude and you record your frequency while you're there and vibrate that in your field more consistently. Um, it's all a matter of frequency and vibration. What are you vibrating at? Do you have fear or anger or resentment or grief or sadness? And we have to transmute those things through love. So,
Love that. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, so many amazing points there. And just to piggyback on what you mentioned there about these different modalities and how they work, it's just like right now I'm choosing to be outside doing this podcast because I've got the extension cord. It's not convenient, right? There's wind, there's whatever's going on, but I'm choosing as much as I can to do work, or when I'm on the computer, to be outside in nature with the sunlight, with grounding here in the water. I'm not actually in the water though. But having the Healy on and having the mag Healy on and biohacking stacking, right? These quantum devices, whilst also tapping into the ultimate quantum device, which is the sun and the earth and the wind, and just really connecting with nature and God, these supports from God. It allows me to feel amazing consistently, more and more and more. And a lot of the time, people with depression or anxiety or these PTSD, they're inside on computer games, eating crappy food, not getting any light, not grounding, stuck on technology, so to speak, or porn or addictions, and they're stuck inside. And that's usually where we're not going to heal the most, right? We need to be out. We need to stretch ourselves, get out of our environment, go to a plant medicine ceremony, go jump in the ocean, right? Do some Healy, jump into these different modalities and stretch our comfort zone. And eventually, I find that even just outside, fasting, right? Chatting to you, following my purpose, chatting about things that are exciting. These things light me up and give me more energy and a high, a natural high, than any drug that I've ever done. And so people don't realize that you can feel amazing and thrive on a consistent basis and not feel hungover or crap the next day. You can actually wake up feeling refreshed. And that's what this discussion is all about. And what you said is you've got all these amazing people, Avengers, right? So to speak, with the Marvel movie, we are all uniting together. The Healy is the honeypot, right? Like attracting these amazing bees and healers and doers and shakers and big thinkers together for us to work as an alliance. And that's really what it's all about. In fear, or whatever we call it, it causes separation. It's like, I want to be alone. I don't want to do that. Fear pushes us into a state of separation, where love is embracing and is collaborative and is cooperative and So I was really balancing that. And these communities, Healy, what you're doing, you've got a retreat coming up as well. These environments are going to allow people to really break free of the matrix, so to speak, and question what's going on for them and actually align back into why they're here. Maybe they've been here. This is their first time on this planet. Maybe it's as you like 5,000. Like it's so interesting when you start that discussion. For me personally, and I'd love to just get your opinion on this and probably finish up in a minute. Is like, we're talking about healing, and we're talking about kind of these invisible forces, energy, frequency, vibration. Obviously the vibration here in the ocean, you can kind of see it. You can't really see the wind, but it's there. I can't see Wi-Fi or EMFs, but they're there. We see 1% of the light spectrum, so we're only seeing a slither of what this reality is. So of course, with these invisible forces, there must be invisible, or like out of visible, or like, I guess, yeah, invisible consciousnesses, entities, demons, spirits, frequencies, whatever we want to call them. And when I saw my friend, another friend of mine, had like a demonic possession, he was literally hitting himself and like had this crazy experience where all this hatred and anger was happening. It was speaking in this weird thing and hitting himself. And my friend used the Bible, literally a couple of phrases from the Bible, and said in Jesus's name. And we weren't touching him. My friend went from hitting himself and speaking, going all weird, to like his arms went like this, his feet crossed over, and his mouth, and he fell over, and we had to catch him. And so that was the ultimate experience for me, to see these invisible forces coming into the physical. And it was such a subtle, well, here's a little doggy. Hello, Fluffy. It's next door neighbor's dog. Yeah, were you there as well? Did you help us? What I say, dog backwards is God, right? Oh, so cute. So how do you help comprehend that? Is, Jesus, um, I would say, would be one end of the spectrum. And when my friend started showing me all the satanic stuff in Hollywood and the movie industry and music industry, I realized that it's like you can't have one without the other. And whether you call it Satan and Jesus, or whether you call it light and dark and these dualities or different frequencies, how do you conceptualize it? Being a facilitator of ceremonies, I'm sure you might have seen the dark side of plant medicine, and you're seeing the light side, but there's always going to be two sides. And I'm still unpacking this discussion. I don't relate to being a religious person. I'd say I'm being more of a relationship with God, and church is two people coming together in prayer. I don't see the religious construct as the solution. Apparently Jesus was killed by religion. So I kind of been learning about different areas of Gnosticism, like hidden levels of Christianity, and whether the Christ is within, and the Christos oil, they say, goes down the spine and helps to activate our pineal gland, or whether he was a real person, or whether the Bible is real, or whether it's a reflection of astrological experiences, or it should be read in a poem right backwards, and it should, I don't know, like there's so many parts of the Bible that have been taken out. Either way, what I saw in that moment was this person who was like a friend of mine, who had this demonic possession, and a few days later we did like an exorcism, so to speak. And his life is infinitely better after that experience. Got
Yeah,
married, changed his life, like all these amazing things were happening. So what
yeah,
on
that's all real.
tell me, tell
Um,
me.
the thing is, like, if you don't have your spiritual connection and you have trauma and weaknesses within your field, you're an open target. So, um, this is a deep subject because there's so many layers to it. But yes, there are dark um, entities that can take over someone's mind and body and different things like that. And I've actually pulled many entities out of people. Um, and it can come from like say a drug addiction, and or there's also like disembodied souls that when they die they try to find another body. And like, if I don't know if you've ever heard of Alba Weinman, but she does like Dolores Cannon's work and records it. And so it goes into, and she'll call out these, like, what is causing these health issues within this person. and then there's a being there. So it was like a soul that didn't want to go move on to the light, didn't know there was that, and she'll guide them to like opening up and expanding the light within themselves, and then it opens to the other realm, and then they move forward. Um, but there's no fear within me. I've gone in the depths of what you call hell, and it was intense. But there's something within me that knows that it's powerful, and it's the light of God. And once you start to know that with certainty, then you can't be attacked and messed with in that way anymore. So um, I have friends that can do removals and do all this stuff like psychic surgeries. They can tap into your field and tell you what beings are there, what entities, what implants. And this is a complex thing because there's also other dimensional beings that are putting implants in people that are trying to harness your light because they don't want you to know your power, and you're a battery system to them. So that's what this whole realm is basically the people that knew the wisdom inverted it so that they could control and manipulate humanity and feed off fear and anger and lust and greed, and they breed it here because that's what their food is. If we all healed and truly connected to our divinity, then we're no longer feeding those lower vibrational energies to them, and they don't have that divine connection. We are fed energy from source, from God. We have that light within us. Sometimes it dwindles, like when I was in a really dark place, right? And I didn't even believe. Okay, so I grew up. I'm a recovering Catholic. Uh, I uh, I grew up Catholic, and I watched how people it just bred like judgment and shame and guilt. And my mom was a single mom after she left my dad because he was very abusive, and he put shotguns to her head and threatened to kill us and all sorts of stuff. So then she put us in Catholic school to appease her family, and she wasn't even allowed to go to her catechisms and like show up because she was not married in the church and this and that. And so I despised religion from the get go, and I didn't even know. I felt like there was a higher power, didn't know for sure. But when I had my after I got out of the psych ward and the cop showed up at my door to take me to jail because I missed my probation hearing, I was so exhausted and done that my soul was literally trying to leave my body. I was like almost fainting, stumbling around, and I fell to the ground, and I just said, if there is a God or a higher power, please make him go away. I'll do whatever you want. And that's when I had all my dreams and all the stuff kicked on. But I wanted it like from the depths of my soul. I was like, if this is real, show me now, because I give up. And but I think that everything is frequency and vibration. And when you start to elevate to higher heights, you could be targeted, but you're going to be less vulnerable because you're supporting your own energy system. And that's where like we're bombarded with harmful frequencies, toxins in our air, food, and water, fear, all the news, and all this stuff that gets you externally focused on things that may not even exist, um, to distract you from your light. So what we can do is practice meditation and mindfulness. Um, we can strengthen our connection to source by being in nature and meditating and truly like quieting the mind and allowing source to speak through to us. Um, and obviously frequency and vibration, right? Because we're starting to clear those distortions. We're starting to elevate our frequency and vibration, and that completely shifts our reality that we're experiencing. So you're not stuck, and yes, those things exist, but it's not to create fear. It's to create an awareness, and also to empower you to know how powerful you are, as a light. You're a divine spark of God. And when you start to remember who you truly are, those things held no power over you. So I've had experiences like you're talking about. I don't quote any Bible verses or anything, but I have that. I was trained like that in medicine by spirit, and there's actually like angelic energy that flows through me. and I had someone lunging at me. Their eyes went black, and I just put my hand up, and then he shot back against the wall, and I put my hand on his chest, and I felt this energy surge into the center of the earth, and he came back into his body. Um, I've also pulled, like, I have giant tuning forks, and I've pulled beings out of people that they picked up doing plant medicines without protecting themselves. So this, I want to caution people: don't just start experimenting with plant medicines without knowing how to protect your space, be in a safe space, be with someone that knows what they're doing as far as facilitating, because you are opening yourself up in other realms. And if you don't know who you are, then you're a target, and you can be. It doesn't mean it's always going to happen, but that's why, like, I have so much reverence and respect and love for these doorways to the divine. Um, and I always set protection, and I do all these rituals that I learned from the shamans, and to put you in a protective bubble so that you're just connecting to your higher self, your guides, angels, and spirit guides, and all of that. But this needs to be done with people that you trust, because there's also people facilitating that should not be facilitating. They're doing it out of ego. They're doing it for greed. They're doing it because they like the power that it gives them over people, because they're going into these vulnerable spaces, and then they're looking at you as some elevated being, and then they take advantage of people, which I've seen a lot of what not to do in all of my work. So that's why I'm very heart centered, and I'm in integrity, and I'm very aware of how I'm showing up, why I'm doing things, and I'm just a door holder. That's what I call myself. I'm there to hold space and allow you to go in and find your own truth, in a very safe, protected, loving space. I'm not the one healing you. You're healing yourself. I'm a door holder, and I can help work on you, and the divine spirit works through me, whatever you need assistance. Um, but they are life changing, transformational experiences that you'll forever remember. Um, and it's something that I'm truly honored and humbled to even. I'm like, I was always like, this is my life for real. This is crazy. Like, I don't deserve this, you know? Um, but it's been a very humbling, and I'm honored to be able to do this work and to truly be a light and a divine masculine, which is where, um, like, I grew up and I was the tough guy, right? I was benching 450 pounds, and I was beating up bullies, and I didn't really, I didn't like, I didn't go out to attack people, but if someone was a bully, then I became the bully's bully. So I was on edge all the time. I was very guarded. Um, and you're not supposed to show emotion, and you're not, and so true masculinity is being able to face all of those deep, dark emotions from a place of love. And then when you can do that, you embody the true divine masculine, which is a protector and a caretaker and a guardian. And if you can't face yourself, and you can't go into those deep emotions and express yourself in that way, then you're blocked. You're not fully in your divine masculine. And women will feel safe around you because they know you're clear within yourself. You don't have any perversions. You don't have any ulterior motives. And like, humanity right now doesn't think that exists, but it does. You know, there's people that have done the work, that are there to hold space for you to find your own light, and to love you unconditionally without motive. So
I can feel your heart, brother. I can feel your heart. I'm so grateful for you in my life as a friend, and the adventures that we're yet to experience together, which I know are just around the corner. And you're doing amazing work. So thank you so much for everything you're doing, and the people that you're around, and the consistency of what you've been doing speaks volumes. You walk your talk, and you talk your walk. So that's the main thing. And I think just that last point, talking about masculinity and the divine masculinity, it's kind of like, life puts a lot of pressure on us in multitude of ways, and we are all a diamond. And a diamond in the beginning, under all that pressure, is formed because of all the pressure. But in the beginning, when you excavate the diamond, it's strong. It's got a lot of weight. There's like a lot of power there, but it's dirty. It's messy. It's like got a lot of confusion. It's guarded, so to speak, with like rocks around the diamond when you're excavating it out of the mountain. And so this is what the process of really self healing is all about, is cutting and chiseling away those parts of the diamond that are getting in the way of the clarity of the beauty of the diamond. And so whether it's plant medicine, frequency therapy, going to the gym, getting fit, eating well, good quality water, supplementation, sunlight therapy, right? Get your balls out in the sun, get your testosterone up, get to sleep early, all these things to boost our hormones as a man. That's going to refine and kind of change the look of the diamond. And eventually, when the diamond has none of the rough edges on there, or has none of the, not the rough edges, but like the dirt from the mountain, it's this beautiful diamond. And I think that's what divine masculinity is all about, is that we can't expect other people to refine our own diamond and our own self. We have to be the ones to go and do it. We have to be the engineers, the authors, the producers, our own healer, our own best lifeguard. We have to go to our own rescue to chisel away that, to craft our own essence and heart essence in that. And it's tricky. You got to look at I've had to look at my own ego and look at my own limiting beliefs and look at my own trauma and look at, have those hard conversations with myself or my family or my mom, my dad, partners and friends. Like it's, it's fucking hard, and not but, and it's so worth it. And so this is where conversations like this are important to really help us just have awareness of other men out there on this journey. We're not alone. We can reach out, ask for help. And that's not a weak thing. It's like asking for help is what an army does. I think a lot of people's metaphor for the world is they're charging into battle by themselves with all the armor and the weapons on, and they're charging, but then they've got no one to help them out. And in an army is an army. They help each other. It's like you can't be a lone warrior and expect to take out a whole army as an enemy, so to speak. Obviously, quite a limiting kind of metaphor, but we have to ask for help. We need that support around us if we're wanting to win the battle of life. So, yeah. Anyway, any
Yeah,
final comments on this?
no, I'm grateful for your friendship, and I'm grateful for all the people that I have in my life that create that space for me to do this work and who truly see me. And I think that the more you know yourself, the less you have to like announce yourself. Like people who are like want to say I'm a shaman and I'm this and I'm that. I'm like, don't put labels on me. Like I'm never going to call myself any of those things, but I can be here and know myself and know my gifts and my strengths, and I can show up and I can hold space for you to evolve and heal and find your own abilities. And I'm going to cheer you on the whole time because we all have our own unique gifts and our own unique wisdom, and community of heart-centered people is very important, and Healy has a lot of that. And so does my little community of like healers and psychics, and it's incredible how I've met all these people through Healy, and now I'm doing intentional like heart-centered retreats with them. And I've also found that we've done many lifetimes together, right? So you're reconnecting with your soul family. And I have friends that, I don't know if I told you about Philia, where she does shamanic soul retrievals, and you can list first names of people. So you could list me or like friends, family, whatever it is. And she can go in and tell you like who you were in that life, what happened, who else was there, and help you reclaim those fragmented parts of your soul. And you came up in one of mine. I forget what that was. It's pretty interesting. And it's also crazy how it bleeds over from other lifetimes where the same situation is happening with that same person in a different body. So like this work is always ever evolving. If anyone needs any help, I can share all the tools, the books, and point you in the right direction. We're all in this together, and this journey needs to be supported. And I want you to find your light and live your purpose and live with passion. So,
Yes, it's so good. What a juicy conversation. Everyone follow Tony Piazza on Instagram. Frequency, was it 22?
Frequency Revolution 22, and then AM Piazza 22 for Anthony Michael. And then reach out if you want any. I'm always helping people nonstop, so I'm here to help and support.
So good. Get in touch with Tony. follow him, check out his content, get a session with the Healy, check out his retreats, and yeah, he is a man on purpose, and this is why you're here. And that's what it's about. So yeah, thank you so much for your time. Keep rocking and rolling, and I'll see you in the US in a couple of months.
Right on, brother. Love you.
See you, bro. Bye.